Hi, everybody. This is Chuck Freeman. Joining me in studio is Carlo Cavallaro. He's from USAgain, Director of Government Affairs. USAgain, a leader in the textile recycling industry with corporate headquarters in Chicago, is a for-profit company that recycles and resells unwanted clothing and other textiles, operates over 10,000 collection drop-off boxes in 15 states, and their mission is to provide consumers with a convenient and eco-friendly option to rid themselves of excess clothing, which are diverted from landfills. In 2011 alone, the company collected $60 million pounds of discarded clothing. Carlo, thanks for joining us in the studio here this morning.
Thanks.
Good to have you on. I gave a little background there on USAgain. What didn't I touch on that maybe you want to add to?
The biggest point is, we've been in this industry since 1999. We view ourselves as one of the leaders. Modern change is, we're commonly rebranded, 100% employee based. We have a brand new color scheme, green and white. We view ourselves as one of the rare for-profit green companies, and partnering with local communities around the country to help bring awareness to textile recycling.
How do you partner with the community?
With the community specifically, what we're trying to do, that's where the environmental benefits come in, the waste diversion. It really is just diverting useful items from landfills. Partnerships vary with either individual businesses. We place a bin at their site. We provide a revenue share with them. And like you said in the intro, it's a convenient option for recycling. USAgain,
USAgain.
You got it.
USAgain.
USAgain.
That's a tricky slogan there.
Right.
How big of an environmental issue is textile recycling?
In honesty, I can't sit here and tell you that textiles going in a landfill is going to create some environmental hazard or detriment to the water table. It's really not that. It's just it's almost an economic development, job creation, good story for why you remove textiles from landfills. You have a very easily commoditized product in clothes, shoes, textiles, you name it, that can either be just simply resold through thrift stores domestically, internationally, and then they can also be recycled into other useful products.
Okay. Now, what options do people have for reusing and recycling clothing, clothes and shoes and other textiles?
Well, there's plenty of options out there. Ours based on convenience of being out there. You have local thrift stores and your nonprofits that you can support as shelters. We absolutely continue to say, hey, take your clothes anywhere. Just we compete against the garbage can as our focus for the most part. It's just don't throw it away. 50% of everything we collect is resold here in the United States. 23 to 25% is recycled into insulation blankets, sound blankets. You peel up the carpets of your car, you look at that real natty looking stuff underneath it, that sound insulation and warmth insulation, that's generally recycled textiles. And then 25 to 27% get sold on the world market.
So don't take your clothes and throw them right in the garbage can.
No, they can always be used. As long as it's the only waste we really run into is items that are either stained with petrochemicals and other detergents or other chemicals issues in oil petroleum products.
So if I'm living in Milwaukee and I have some clothes, what do I do?
Well, we would ask you to go to our website, www.usagain.com, and find a bin and deposit it there. Or the other alternative is find a local shelter so they can be reused locally. But as long as you don't throw them in the garbage can, you're kind of supporting what our real mission is.
Okay. Do you have a lot of recycle bins in Milwaukee?
Absolutely. There's probably at least 1,000 in the entire Milwaukee metropolitan area.
No kidding.
There's a locator item on the website, so all you do is plug in your zip code and it'll give you the various bins in the area.
1,000, so you have one within miles, right?
Usually.
Wow, there you go. What happens to clothes when they're no longer wanted?
For our business works on a wholesale basis. So instead of having a thrift store where they'd just be put on for sale, we collect them back. They go back to our warehouse. Our warehouse is in South Milwaukee. We're in New Berlin. That is then the clothes are collected by our service drivers. They bring them back to the warehouse, and we simply just verify the weights and then bundle them up and ship them off. It's really a wholesale commodity. I mean, the agricultural industry is a great example. We sort of go harvest the textiles and then ship them off through a wholesale process.
Okay. What happens to clothing and other textiles that that can't be worn again. How else can they be recycled?
That gets right into the recycling, the insulation blankets and wiping rags. Great story out of Southern California. SOEX is a German company, one of our larger partners. They can take all those rags, that 23 to 25% of the product that I was talking about. They reopened a defunct factory that was left behind by Toyota and General Motors. They reopened it, and they created about 1,000 jobs. Southern California opened the place up, and they recycle textiles into wiping rags and recycling into the insulation blankets.
Carlo Cavallaro is joining us. He's from USAgain, the Director of Government Affairs. Director of Government, that sounds like a pretty high title. Pretty stiff title there.
Yeah, well, it's a common title. What I do for the most part is I'm out raising awareness and trying to work with units of local government to institute regulations and ordinances to allow the placement of the bins and then make sure they're properly placed.
Okay. Very good. Give us a little rundown again.
USAgain, we partner with local businesses. We place collection bins, textile collection bins, on their parking lots and their places of business, and then we draw. We compete against the garbage can, so that you take the clothes or unwanted textiles and shoes from your home, deposit them in the bin. We then service those bins on a regular basis. We take it back, and then it's wholesaled into the wholesale used clothes commodity market.
How long have you been in textiles and all that?
1999 is when the company was founded.
So you've been doing it since 99?
Yeah, this has been me individually.
Yes, you.
No, me. I'm sorry, me individually. I've been with the company for 16 months now.
Okay. How do you enjoy it?
I love it. It's I'm an outdoorsman and fits right within the Wisconsin kind of lifestyle. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I've spent most of my vacation dollars through my entire life in your state or ours. Hunting, fishing, etc.
You're from Illinois.
From Illinois.
And you come up here. Whereabouts in Wisconsin do you spend time?
I'm spoiled. Cousin has a place in Door County, and my brother has a place in Castle Rock. So I get
two ends of the state.
That's right.
There you go. Right. How much clothing do you guys recover annually?
Last year was a record of about 60 million pounds of clothes. And we characterize this, if you want to put it in the concept of landfill space savings. 50 million pounds of clothes, when you convert that you can generally do a rough estimate of 173 pounds of clothes makes a cubic yard. Yeah. When you can cycle through the math, and I use garbage trucks. If you can assume a garbage truck carries about 25 cubic yards, you get about 14,000 garbage trucks filled.
Okay.
Football field analogy. You can cover a football field's 50 by 100 yards, cubic yards. You're talking about burying it 50 feet deep in clothes. So next time you're in Lambeau Field, you can kind of visualize that as 50 feet tall, which I think would block out the first 20 or 30 rows. Okay.
So, but there's probably a lot of clothes that are being left out of the table that you guys don't get to use because people aren't doing the right things with them.
Oh, absolutely. EPA stats is what we cite. They just updated 2011 stats. Textiles comprise about 5% in the entire municipal waste stream. So you're talking almost 13 million tons. And we collect back 15% of that number, so it's right around 2 million tons.
How do you work with the city of Milwaukee?
Milwaukee actually has they have an ordinance. They authorize the bins. We put the bins out on different places, mostly with private businesses, and we just operate in that manner.
And when you say you go around and work with the different governments, how do you do that? What do you do?
Oh, me individually?
Yeah.
A lot of cases, zoning and planning, the bins aren't always authorized or specifically permitted, so it always creates a unique dilemma. It's like, hey, how do we deal with these? And so what we've done is we've been passing a lot of different cities around the country have adopted this model regulatory ordinance to allow them, authorize them. The key thing for the community is you need to know who's operating it and who to get in touch if there are any issues. Someone leaves something outside the bin, you want it picked up, you want it serviced. The bin, the bin may not be looking good, so they can maintain it. All those issues can be addressed, and as long as simple application process with the village authorities or the county, the city, what have you. Then they know who to contact, and you pay them a small fee so that they can monitor it, and life is good.
What does that do to the system, the ecosystem, when you put your clothes in the garbage can and you go that route? Is that a bad thing?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, there's nothing, you don't have any chemicals or or nasty stuff that's going to leach into the water table. When you think about cotton and man-made fibers, all that environmental damage occurs in the front end. So if you think about it, you've already sprayed all the pesticides and insecticides and fertilizers to grow these crops, or you've done the industrial process to create man-made fibers. Why not make them live, make them last as long as you possibly can?
Sure. And the service you provide to the local community?
It's mostly the revenue share goes to the local businesses, so it gives them another opportunity to help green them. We provide all of our partnerships. We verify the weight that comes out of each bin. And what we do is we pay a per pound revenue share to each one of our site hosts.
Okay.
We also then on an annual basis will provide them with statistics. I talked earlier about cubic yards of landfill space we would save. So we'd tell them exactly how many pounds of clothes we collected from their site. We'd give them the cubic yards of landfill space that they helped us divert by hosting the bin. We also do a mathematical calculation based on a European study that gives you greenhouse gas emissions diverted.
Who calculates all that stuff?
It's really simple. Thank God there's been so much interest in the environmental movement that there's a wealth of studies out there. So the European study, the UK study specifically that did textiles for greenhouse gas, you end up with a 7-to-1 ratio.
What was the idea behind USAgain back in 1999?
This is really a European business model. In Europe, I mean, as you can tell, it's great. We're in the Midwest. There's plenty of holes to fill, gold mines, you name it. So we have, we don't really have landfill capacity issues. But if you think about it, you look across the pond at Europe, land is scarce. So landfills. So for the more often than not, any usable item that's in the waste stream in Europe has been banned. Denmark, a few other communities specifically, countries, not communities, literally banned all textiles from landfills. So you would see bins like ours side by side on public spaces. So you go to City Hall, Village Hall, the police station, fire station, you'd have 6-7 bins in the parking lot, all collecting, textiles, shoes, electronics, batteries, you name it, to get that out of the waste stream.
How did overseas get ahead of the game?
Necessity.
Yeah.
I mean, domestically, California has a zero waste initiative. They passed it into law statewide last year, or 2010, and they've been implementing it along. They have got a goal for 2013. I think it's slipped to 2014, but it's a goal. They're doing what they can to achieve it. We're trying to work with them in the same way here to broaden the reach. Interesting development. We won a RFP, a bid to be the exclusive textile recycler or collector for the city of Santa Monica.
Okay.
So they're going to host events, and we're going to partner with them, bring in one of our big branded trucks or a bin or two to a location and do a citywide collection event.
Now, you work with 15 states. How come there's not more people aboard of this?
It's still growing. The industry's had its ups and downs, and it has its challenges. Not everyone operates the same way, so they deal with those issues. But there's probably 8 to 10 operators in the Midwest, and in every state there's different competitors. It's one of those things. Now that I talk about it, or now that you see me, you see the materials, you're going to notice more and more bins, and you're going to be like, hey, now you know what it's for.
Yeah. USAgain. We're talking with Carlo Cavallaro. He's the Director of Government Affairs for USAgain, a leader in the textile recycling industry with the corporate headquarters, as he was mentioned, in Chicago, and a for-profit company that recycles and resells unwanted clothing and other textiles. Operates over 10,000 collection drop boxes in 15 states, and as Carlo was mentioning, 1,000 in the Milwaukee area. 1,000, that's quite a bit. Now, you guys work with charities, too, like the Salvation Army.
Well, not specifically. Salvation. What we do is, in a lot of cases, your nonprofits, your larger nonprofit or thrift stores buy into the wholesale market.
So you compete with them,
and to some extent, not necessarily. The Salvation Army, if you support their mission, you're going to support their mission.
Okay.
It's not so much because you're dealing with a 1-to-1 direct transfer. Your old suit or coat directly to someone that they're supporting and in need. Our market serves the larger thrift store operation as well. Some of those are nonprofits that are running. If they're selling their stuff through a retail center, a larger retail center, they will need that wholesale supply to get the adequate stock to fill those offices. But the other aspect is the revenue share in a lot of cases. Local businesses, if we operated a bin, if you and I owned a convenience store and we hosted a bin, but we were big fans of Salvation Army, what we do in a lot of cases is you'll divert that revenue. We'll just offer it up, or you'll have us divert our revenue share to that charity.
Okay. So you do help them out in a way.
In a way, we try. We have a very elaborate. We're formalizing a corporate giving program. We've had a long-standing partnership with Children's Miracle Network. We're trying to formalize a few others to solidify a couple national partners so that we can discuss that more openly.
How can we, as consumers, put recycling more on our radar, become more part of our lives?
The easiest way, what we're trying to do for textiles is we're really focusing in a lot of cases on specific markets, so larger shopping centers. We're doing, thank you for the time on the show here to raise awareness. And the other partnership that's critical is schools. Schools, churches, you have that constituency. I mean, let's face it, hand-me-down clothes it's probably, we always joke it's the oldest recycling that there's ever been, because if anyone had any siblings, everyone got the hand-me-down jacket from their older brother or sister.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that's where the schools and the education awareness. And I think, the saving grace is, we're going to be diligent, we're going to keep at it, and I think the next generation, this is natural to them. My kids are naturally, they're 12 and 10, the boys, they recycle everything because it's just ingrained in them.
Part of their future.
Yeah. Whereas, our parents, I'm 46. I mean, my parents, we didn't recycle anything in the past. And then as we started, I used to take aluminum cans and newspapers we'd collect as Boy Scouts. And we'd go turn them in. There'd be a trailer parked at a Kmart parking lot, or whatever. You would turn it in, get a few bucks for the club, for the Scout pack. And now that changes. I write a check every quarter to the waste hauler, and he takes it right from the curb.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a different way that the business model goes.
But put more recycling in your lives. That's
Absolutely.
Put it more in your lives. It's getting there. It's slowly getting there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Illinois, they banned electronics this year. I mean, there's no enforcement, so it's like it's one of those things that you can cringe at a government ban, but I think it's one of those things. It really, and just like with California zero waste, whether they're truly accomplishing it or not at this point in time, it's not. That really shouldn't be the judgment. It should be, what are you doing to get it moving forward?
Carlo, any last thoughts? Something you want to get out there that we haven't covered yet in this interview that you want to let our listeners know?
I just, recycle. The thing I really love about the textiles aspects over all the other recycling items I've seen is that this is just such a growth industry. When you talk about 15% of the stuff is out there, we talk about everyone who's in the used clothes business. You got 85% of that market still exists out there. It's the garbage can. So the rising tide floats all boats. And then when you add in how easy it is to resell these products and the job creation that comes from that, it really is one of those green for-profit enterprises that is just it's American ingenuity that makes this successful.
Carlo, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks so much, Josh.
Carlo Cavallaro is joining us. He joined us today from USAgain, a leader in the textile recycling industry, for-profit company that recycles and resells unwanted clothing and other textiles. 1,000 bins around the Milwaukee area. So if you got some clothes sitting around that you're going to throw in the garbage can, don't do it. Go to his website. The website real quick.
www.USAgain.com.
And that'll tell you a location, a bin near you. Have yourself a great day, everybody.